Hey class, I just want to talk a little bit about this scholarly journal article assignment. So, the I guess the best place to start would be just to talk about what a scholarly journal is and how it's different from other sources. Um, and in the assignment, there is a short video that there's a link to that's going to talk about that difference. I can just give you a brief overview now. So we've talked about the disciplines and how there are different disciplines. There's the humanities, the social sciences, and the physical sciences, the formal sciences, the applied fields. And in each of those groupings, there are a number of disciplines. So then each discipline, right? So say history in the humanities, right? May have a number of journals where experts in that field kind of exchange their research and exchange the results of their studies. Okay, so you might have a number of economics journals, right? You may have a number of nursing journals. And in each of these journals, researchers, people who are experts, are writing, and they're really writing for other experts. Okay, they're not really writing for you and me. Um, this is a lot different than somebody like Malcolm Gladwell, who is a popularizer, right? He's a journalist who takes some of the research from these scholarly journals and then sort of explains it to a more general audience. Okay, so he would be an example of outliers would be like a popular source. Okay, it's not a scholarly article, although Gladwell uses scholarly research to support his claims. He's writing for a general audience, for the general public, right? So that's the difference between a scholarly article and a popular article or a popular resource. Okay, and one thing in college you're going to find sometimes your professors are going to tell you, hey, for your research, I want you to find scholarly sources. Okay, especially in English 102, they're going to ask you to find scholarly sources. So I want you to start to build a little recognition ability to recognize the difference between the two types of sources. So that's going to be the first step of this assignment, is just learning a little bit about what a scholarly source is. Okay, and then step three, the first step, you're going to be watching this video that I'm making right now. Step two is going to be to watch this short video about the two types of sources. And then I just want to talk a little bit, there's a link here to a short article about how scholarly articles are structured in the sciences. So you're going to read through that. I'm going to talk you through it right now. And then the step four is going to be to choose a scholarly article about COVID-19. And there's a link here. It's going to take you to about 100 different articles, and you can choose whichever one you'd like. And what you're going to do with that article is you're going to summarize the problem, experiment, and the results. And then you're going to summarize and analyze one visual element. So the first thing you did this week was a lesson on bars and charts and tables, and had you practice some of that in a discussion thread. You're going to do it again here. And I do want to also just say that this assignment you may find a little difficult, because these scholarly articles, as I said, are written for a very specific audience that has lots of knowledge, that understands all the technical jargon and language of the discipline. So this you may find this challenging, and I just want you to just kind of embrace the challenge and give it a shot. Okay. So let me just talk a little bit about this, the structure of scholarly articles, and then I'll show you the collection that you get to choose from. So when you click on number 3, it's going to take you to this page here, which is how to write a paper in a scientific journal style and format. Okay. So every paper in one of these journals is going to be structured in identical fashion. Okay. Every paper is going to have specific sections, right? So scientific papers are usually subdivided into these sections. Okay. It's going to have titles and authors and affiliations. Affiliation is going to be what college or university they're associated with, or what research institution. Then there's going to be something called an abstract, which is like, it's like an introduction, but it's a little bit different. An abstract is sort of an overview of the whole thing, like what did I do in a nutshell. Okay. The next step after that is going to be an introduction. The introduction is going to introduce the problem. It's going to say, this is the thing I wanted to do research on. Okay. After that, there's going to be a methods or a methods and materials section. So how did I conduct my experiment, right? How did I solve the problem? If I solved it, I may not have solved it, right? And And then the next section will be the results, right? So this is kind of saying, here's the problem, here's what I did, here's what I got when I did my experiment, okay? And then after that, there's going to be a discussion section where it's going to talk about like, what does this mean, right? So this is where they're doing that work of kind of inference and analyzing, right? So I got these results. What do these results mean, okay? And then that's basically those are the meat. That's the meat of the paper, okay? After that, acknowledgments, like these are the people who helped, and then literature cited. So this is all the research that I looked at to inform what I did, okay? And then also in here, you're also going to have some visual information. And a lot of this stuff is going to be far more involved and in-depth than what we're probably used to looking at as a general audience, okay? But these are the sections, okay? So I want you to be familiar with that so that you don't get overly intimidated when you look at these journal articles, okay? Because this is like the structure that you can look at and it can help guide you like, okay, this is an introduction. I've got to figure out what the problem is. Material and methods, how did they solve it? Results, what did they find out? Okay, so you can use this as a guide to walk you to hold your hand through the process of looking at this article. Okay, and so then so I want you to just take a look at that, and then you're going to choose an article about COVID-19. So when you just come back here, when you click on this link, it's going to take you to this page, which is a collection of articles that have been published in the PLOS collections. This is an online scholarly article where people are trying to share their research as widely as they can with other researchers, okay? So it's got all of the articles that they've published. And if you scroll down, you're gonna see, I'll just give you a quick look, right? Lots of articles, okay? Keeps going and going and going and going. So there's a lot, right? There's a bunch of sections, right? They're grouped. So one is modeling, forecasting, and surveillance. And there's quite a few, right? Social issues, right? So what I would suggest you do is you kind of scroll through and read the titles and just look for ones that you find interesting. I have to tell you the truth. Some of them I look at and I just go like, oh my God, I don't even understand what they're saying, right? Because they're very tailored to other researchers who are looking at like really specific problems in their disciplines, okay? So for example, if you're, let me just scroll back up to the top, molecular and genetic studies, right? These are gonna be researchers who are studying like the genetics of the virus, right? They're studying the molecular structure of the virus. Now, some of you like who wanna do nursing or something, you might be like, oh, that sounds really interesting, right? I look at that and I start to go like, no thanks. But right, even just reading this, I don't even always understand what they're saying, right? Detection of SARS-CoV-2, right? That's COVID-19 RNA by multiplex RT-qPCR, right? I don't even know what multiplex RT, right? I don't work in this field. This is from biology, right? So I'm out of my league there. This one doesn't interest me, right? But if you scroll through, right, so this first grouping are going to be molecular and genetic studies. And then if you scroll down, so the second one is clinical epidemiology and care, right? This is about like treating, right? So here's one written in slightly plainer English, right? Non-communicable diseases and inequalities increase risk of death among COVID-19 patients in Mexico, right? So that's really clear about, what they found in their research, right? So just as an example, right, if I click on this, I just want you to kind of see what you're going to be brought to, right? You're going to be brought to a page and you see it's got these sections, right? Abstract, introduction, methods, results, discussion, okay? Just like it said, just like we learned about here that a scholarly article is going to have, okay? So, you can go through this and you can click on this and it'll take you to each section, right? Here's your introduction, here's your methods, here's your results, right? Here's your discussion. So the journal articles tend to be pretty short, really concise summary of the research that the researchers did, okay? So just to come back here, I did want you to see some of the other sections. There's also, I think there were 3 or 4 sections here. And you can see there's a lot of articles, and I'm asking you to just kind of scroll through, find one that you find kind of interesting. Okay. The next section, right? Modeling, forecasting, and surveillance, right? What do we know about SARS-CoV-2's transmission? A systematic review and meta-analysis of the secondary attack rate. I got to click on this to get the whole title. Of course, it was just about to load. The secondary attack rate and associated risk factors, right? And you'll notice in the sciences, you get a lot of teams working together. You have almost 10 authors here. Same thing, you've got all these sections, right? And I did want to point out here, a systematic review and meta-analysis means they're going to look at all the other research that's been done. And a meta-analysis is to take like the work of 10 other groups and do an analysis of all of their analyses and bring it all together, okay? So anytime you see meta-analysis, that's what somebody's doing. Okay. And this is, if I go through here, there's going to be some modeling and forecasting and stuff. And what I also want to talk about is the second piece of the assignment where I'm asking you to take one of the visuals, right, and do an analysis of it. So every one of these pieces is going to have a figures section, right, where they've got a bunch of their data. So you can choose any of these in your article, right? You don't have to do all of them. There are going to be like 3 or 4 different ones, right? So here's a table. It's got a bunch of information, and you would want to just give a summary and possibly an inference of what that information is and what what you're taking away from it. Okay, so just to come back to the assignment, right? You're being asked to choose an article, summarize the problem, experiment, and results that are addressed in the article, and then summarize and analyze one of those tables, or the figures section is what it's called, okay? And I say write one well-developed paragraph kind of addressing number 2 and one writing number 3. So it might be like roughly a page double-spaced, okay? So, you've now done, this is step 1, you've watched this video. Now go ahead and go into the assignment, watch this short video, take a look again at that brief article, that web page that shows you the sections, right, of the piece, just to familiarize yourself with that, and then go in here and choose an article, right, and then you're going to complete your tasks. Okay, good luck.